Γεια σας, καλησπέρα. Good afternoon, my dear friends. I'm Elena and you're watching Made with Yiayia. Today I'm going to show you an absolutely delicious dessert. For the longest time I actually thought it was Greek because we would always buy it at a Greek bakery in Toronto, and this is our favorite one whenever we go to Toronto. But I found out it actually is from France. It is called mille-feuille. It's a beautiful decadent dessert with layers. So there's a nice crunch pastry and delicious custard and some icing sugar. So I'm gonna go grab all my ingredients and let's get this dessert started. Oppa! This dessert is one of the easiest desserts you will ever make. But it is one of the most delicious desserts you're gonna ever make also. So, this is the puff pastry that I came across that I absolutely love. It actually has 2 packages. So out of this, you'd actually be able to make 2. But any puff pastry in your area, you want the size that would be for a 9 or 10 by 13, 9 by 13 baking dish. So if it's like the other one, if you've watched any of my other videos, it has 2 smaller ones. You can use that too. You would just connect it because you need 1 full sheet across. And I'm going to show you why I love this one. Look how beautifully it's actually connected. It all rolls out nicely into the perfect size. Look at that. There you go. No rolling, no anything. So the first thing we're going to do with this is we're going to sprinkle some icing sugar on it. I've actually turned on my oven to 375 degrees, so it's preheating right now. Now we're going to put the other parchment paper on top. Kind of cut to size, and we're going to flip this. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. Icing sugar on this side. The puff pastry has no sweetness to it. That's why you can use it for tart things like I do if I'm making my various spanakopita or tiropita. So when you're making it into a dessert, it needs a little help to add some sweetness to it. So our last thing we're going to do to prepare this part of our dessert is actually you grab your fork and we're going to just start piercing all the way and that's it. Pretty simple so far. So you unroll your puff pastry, put it on parchment paper, icing sugar both sides, and you poke out some holes on it. So we're going to put another piece of parchment paper on top, and then another pan is going to sit on top of that. So this is ready now to go into the oven for 25 minutes. So for the custard part, these are the ingredients we're going to need. First of all, you need a medium-sized little pot because we will be heading over to the stove after. And you're just going to dump all your ingredients in, okay? So we have 1.5 cup milk, 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 1/3 of a cup of cornstarch, so that's going to be part of our thickening agent, and this type of whipping cream. So it's not made, it's the one you whip to make whipping cream. And we have 3/4 of a cup of whipping cream. And then we come to our eggs. So we have 1 whole egg, and then we need 3 egg yolks. You know, there's tools that you can kind of use to do this. If you watched any of my videos, I'm kind of old school. And 3. So these I'm gonna set aside and make some cookies. Or you can make an omelet. You can whisk things a little bit. And then we're going to head over to the stove and continue the cooking process over there. So we're gonna turn on our burner to a medium setting. With any type of custards, you don't want to have it too high. They tend to cook up very quickly, and then they can stick very quickly and burn very quickly. So just stay on top of it. It's only a couple minutes, constantly stirring it. So we're starting to get little bubbles. This is the part that's the most crucial. Make sure you're getting all around the edges, because look at what's happening. It's starting to thicken. Turn it down a little bit lower now. Just needs another minute. Because once it starts to boil, boom, it gets thick. So I can feel it on the bottom. As you can see, it's starting to, you can feel the solidness on the bottom of the pan. So I just keep stirring a little bit faster. And there it is. So now that we've turned it off, our final ingredient is vanilla. You can do the pure vanilla extract, which works well, but I love this vanilla powder that I actually get. So 1 teaspoon of whichever, nice heaping one. I'll give it that beautiful vanilla flavor, which is nice, like a vanilla pudding. Look at how nice and thick that is. Okay, we'll head off to the counter and I'll show you what our next step is. Now the only thing we have to do is put it, it's going to be hot, we're going to put it in a glass bowl. In a bowl that you can actually do a little bit of mixing. There's going to be one little final step with a mixer when it's all cooled off. So the smell is amazing. My grandkids are up here, they'd be wanting to lick this because it's so yummy. Go ahead. So we're going to cover it with plastic wrap, but you're going to push it all the way in. You don't want any air to get in. Because then it forms that thick, crusty kind of thing. You want it to remain basically the way it is. So we're gonna let it cool off for a bit on the counter, maybe a good hour. And then we're gonna put it in the fridge for a couple hours to cool off. In the meantime, our pastry dough is almost ready. It needs another 5 minutes. That's gonna come out. We're gonna let that cool off. When everything is nice and cold, we're gonna put this delicious dessert together. So I'm gonna see you in a few hours. So here we go. Everything is cold and ready to assemble. So this is what it looks like. Man, it smells so good. Now, when I put it for the 25 minutes, it seemed a little white for me. So I did another 5 minutes, but I didn't take it out of the oven. I turned the oven off and left it, so technically it went a little more maybe than it should, but it's still gonna be absolutely delicious. So what we do now, lengthwise, is we're going to make 2 cuts, so that way we'll have 3 long equal pieces. So I like to turn it this way, and then, I mean, I kind of eyeball, you know me. And just make a nice, straight as possible cut. Hear that crunch? And then one more. And then we're going to do a little more icing sugar on top. Coat it nicely. Now I'm going to put this aside and we're going to work on a little bit more work on the custard. So our custard is all nice and cold. So we're going to add, it says 2 to 3 tablespoons of milk. Last time I actually used the whole amount. So I'm just going to put in the 3 tablespoons that I have measured here. and we're just going to mix it a little bit with our mixer. And now we're going to put the layers together. Pretty simple, right? So what I did is I just put the one, oopsie, behind for now. You're a little frail. And then we're going to put half of this custard on our one layer. A little bit more on our edge here. So just take your time and just spread it out all across. And now we're going to put our middle piece on top that I just broke. And we're going to put the rest of our custard. This makes 8 perfect size pieces, just like you would buy at the bakery. But as you can see, very simple. It's more the time that it needs to cool off. Otherwise, it's a very, very quick and easy dessert to make. So again, we're going to bring it out to the edges. And for my friends that live in the Toronto area, yeah, it's exactly like the mille-feuille at the bakery. All right, now we're going to put our next piece. And there it is. Look how beautiful. So now we're going to cut it into pieces. So I always start half in the middle, about. It's a nice crunch, as you can hear. And then half again here. So let's see. Look at those layers. Isn't that beautiful? It smells amazing, 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 guys. So now to try it. The best part of a dessert. So delicious, perfect sweetness. Please, my dear friends, give this dessert a try. As you see, so simple, but it's going to be one of your favorites. I guarantee this one. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel so you can get the weekly amazing recipes that I come up with every single week, Wednesday at 2. So thank you for being with me today. I'm Elena, and you've been watching Made with Yiayia. Oppa!